Alright, so what I made here, it's a digital thermostat. I used a Raspberry Pi and a Sensehat. This thing has a temperature sensor and an 8x8 LED matrix. So if I push right, I can change the settings for my temperature. And as you can see, once the set temperature is higher than the actual temperature, which is 25, these LEDs light up. And if it is lower, then another set of LEDs light up. Alright, these LEDs represents the different wiring terminals on the back of your thermostat. You have W for heating, Y for the AC unit, and G is for the fan. And for this one, this is for the heat pump. And this activates a solenoid. So when it's not activated, it should be on heating mode, and when it's activated, it goes to cooling mode. And this is how I wired up the LEDs. So they're being switched by the GPIO pins of the Raspberry Pi. I have 4 pins being used here as outputs. And once this pin is pulled high, the current runs from the 5-volt power supply through the LED, through the current limiting resistor to ground, and that completes the loop to turn on the LEDs. And right here is my code, or I mean how I laid out to write my code. So I set some initial conditions. It checks the joystick. If I were to move the joystick right, then we go into this menu here, which is represented by this loop. And you can see once I press right, it turns green. And all it does is check if I press up or down on the joystick to increase or decrease the set temperature. And once I press left, it exits out and goes back to the temperature readings. And then it compares the temperature that you set with the actual temperature that's being measured from the sensor. And if the temperature you set is greater than the actual temperature, it'll start heating, which will turn on these LEDs. These two, the fan and the heat. And if it's less than, it'll start cooling. And then it completes the cycle and goes back to the joystick state. And this is cooling mode. Alright, that's about it.